a little bit of news involved with Florida State. Mike Norvell did speak today, and he had no update whatsoever on Thomas Castellanos. Okay, he continues to be day to day. Gus Malzahn has talked about a 2-quarterback system, which involves, the rookie, the freshman Kevin Sperry. It also involves Brock Glenn. By Gus Malzahn saying that, it's crystal clear to me that they don't have a plan, and they don't know what they are going to do if Thomas Castellanos cannot play. Where I'm at this point, I don't want Thomas Castellanos to play. Okay, I want to find out if you have anything here in Kevin Sperry. Now, I said the same thing a year ago with Luke Kromenhoek, and he actually went to a worse program than Florida State. He went to Mississippi State, and he cannot get on the field. But if there's one thing that you would like to see in the next 5 weeks, it's, can this young man play? Can Kevin Sperry play? Now, I have a feeling, and I'm sure the Seminole fans think the exact same way, that when it comes to Florida State, Mike Norvell's trying to win every game that he can, so he's going to play Thomas Castellanos. I mean, no one can argue with that. Thomas Castellanos gives him the best chance to win. But if you're where I'm at and this season is a wash, it's like, who cares? It's about developing Sperry, see what you have for the next coach who does come aboard. And, I think that is clearly going to be the situation. It'll be interesting to see how they play for Mike Norvell. Whether or not these kids are going to quit. I think it's a very difficult situation to be a part of now. Sending his coordinators out first last week before he even spoke. He spoke this Monday, right? Why didn't he last Monday? Because it was a bye, whatever it was. He sent his coordinators out, and they had to answer all the questions about, the ridiculous release from the athletic director. It just didn't make any sense. Something else that I'm really struggling with, and, this, I think I've mentioned it perhaps once briefly, but what's going on with Jimbo? Why this infatuation with Jimbo Fisher? It's like, man, I'm just trying to understand fandom. Trying to understand why a lot of Jaguar fans now are like, you've wiped your hands clean with Brian Thomas Jr. Then you look at a guy like Jimbo Fisher, who just flat out quit on you. Okay? Mike Norvell didn't quit. Mike Norvell failed. Mike Norvell is not a good coach. Okay? It wasn't for the lack of effort. It wasn't for, the lack of putting everything that he had into this program. Unfortunately, Mike Norvell is not a good recruiter. Unfortunately, Mike Norvell is not a good in-game coach. We saw that in year one with Notre Dame going for it on 4th down. We saw it against Jacksonville State when he didn't play prevent. I mean, the stuff's right there. You can ignore it if you want, but he's not a good coach. Jimbo is a good coach who packed up and left because he wanted everything and he didn't get it. Well, guess what? Everything he wanted ended up coming to fruition. But he still left the family. And people are like, oh, bring him back, bring him back, bring him back, bring him back. Let me tell you, I have been hell no. I have been over my dead body. For the first time in my life, I am starting to just a little bit move in this direction. Because I'll tell you, if you give Fisher what he wants, that man can recruit. That man can coach. I don't think he should be calling plays. I think he should be overseeing the program. You got to give him enough money to get the best coaching staff that he possibly can. I'm not 100% in, but I'm starting to understand why this does make sense for Florida State fans. You are willing to forgive, not forget. I think it comes down to look at all of these jobs that are open, and look at all of these jobs that are going to open once again. You know what you have in Jimbo Fisher. Now, he won a lot of big games, right? There's no doubt he did. He was masterful with Jameis Winston. He still sent out first-round picks and Ponder and Manuel and whatever, but there was always a difficult loss. There'd be one at least a year that they would lose that they shouldn't lose. But I think that's a whole heck of a lot better than what you've seen in the last couple of years. So I'm starting to at least acknowledge this and say, you know what, maybe this is the right move. Only time will tell. Let me wrap it up before the break. Again, I've always done a radio show based on what I think fans want to hear. And I think I spend more time talking about fans and interacting with fans than anyone. But I do have a difficult time figuring out what is going through your mind at times. Deion Sanders. Now, right now, it just looks like Deion Sanders cannot coach. I stayed up and watched the Utah massacre. It was just brutal. I have always had the vision of bringing Deion to Florida State, allow him to hire the best coaches that he possibly can. Again, Deion's not calling plays. Deion's not running the defense. Deion is in charge of the NIL. Deion is in charge of recruiting. He lets game day coaches work the offense and defense. Florida State fans hate this idea. Florida State fans have burnt his jersey. In my opinion, there's not anyone even remotely close to Bobby Bowden when it comes to building Florida State. For me, number two, it's Deion Sanders. It's not Jameis Winston. It's not Charlie Ward. It's not Warwick Dunn. It's not Marvin Jones. It's not Derek Brooks. It's not Chris Winkie. It's not Peter Warwick. It's not Dalvin Cook. It's Deion friggin' Sanders. He is a monster. And he did what he was supposed to do by taking Travis Hunter and making him a part of Jackson State. How can this fan base be so down on Deion for doing his job, yet this same fan base is like the guy who left you in Jimbo Fisher? Oh, come on back. I can't add that up. I can't get even remotely close to understanding why you feel that way. For the record, I've always wanted Deion. I think health concerns are a big problem there for Deion Sanders. And, you bring him in a year or two, all of a sudden you find out that he can no longer go because his body's really breaking down. To me, that would be enough of a warning sign to stay away. As much as I just would love Deion Sanders at Florida State for the reasons that I identified. Others will say he's just a bad coach. He didn't have Hunter, didn't have his sons. He's a bad coach. It may be the case. We'll see. But again, just don't understand why Nole fans are thinking the way that they are.
Rick Ballou here. Thank you so much for watching 1010XL Seminoles on YouTube. Before you click away, please like and subscribe to this channel. Be sure to check out other team-specific channels on 1010XL Network and YouTube.